We have increased women in leadership. That has been a breakthrough because that's one of the things we used to demand, advocate for. Now we are in leadership. We are not so many, but we are there. For instance, I've grown through the ranks, and right now I'm a board member in the Vision Group. I was a board chair for Media Women's Association for over 10 years. It also nurtured me, but also in my other professional life, in corporate life, I head a communication team, and there's so many women now we see in those leadership positions that used to seem like it's a male's world. The question is, do we make a difference when we get there? For me, that's where the issue is, because I've even learned to appreciate that a man who appreciates social justice, gender equity, sometimes is a better deal than a woman who doesn't, who's just sitting. Because you've seen, like in Parliament, I like going to Parliament because they're out in the public and we can see what they are doing. When you remember the marriage domestic relations bill, that bill with so many names,
Yes.
You saw how women legislators were on the other side.
Funny.
Yes. So sometimes you find a woman in leadership is not enough. They need to be trained, they need to be supported, but also these women groups should teach them that, Patricia, now you're in the New Vision group as a board chair. Can you push for these policies? New Vision has a gender policy. Can you ensure it is actually implemented? You know, when you engage, because maybe there can be a complaint from down about senior management not paying attention, because New Vision has things like the flexi hours and things like that. There are some organizations, they have breastfeeding rooms and what. But if I'm in charge, me personally, which people will shoot me for, I actually don't like the breastfeeding thing at the workplace. And people think I'm peculiar, but I have my many other reasons. Sometimes there's issues of hygiene. As a mother, I used to travel a lot with my son when I just had him, but I realized it was counterproductive because he was always ill, pneumonia, what, because of the nature of my work. I soon realized I better create a support mechanism at home and leave my child home and find him healthy than run around the country with him and is permanently ill. Now, how clean are these media houses in Uganda? I've been to a number, so I don't know how the breastfeeding rooms are.
Yes.
So there should be other supporting policies to allow me to go home earlier, to allow me to leave at lunchtime. If I've just given birth, maybe I come in work. For me, I think those are better. Because unless we can provide the hygiene, we can provide soundproof, all those different things. I can imagine I'm in the meeting and my maid comes to the boardroom and says, baby's crying, baby's hungry. Then I go and I'm chairing the meeting. Now you see those are... Okay, ask.
I was coming to that as we wind this up. When we look at women in media, there has been a challenge where they cannot strike a balance between their life, their marriage life,
personal life,
yes, and
professional.
Yes, because you see how media gets draining. You have all your mind and everything there, especially when you're in those positions, the managerial ones, the editorial ones. We've seen these male editors tell you that have not been home for the past 2 years. So how do you think these women could strike a balance if they are there, or those that are there?
You see, women experience different challenges at different stages of their life. Now, how old is this woman in leadership? Is she still having babies? Has she just gotten married? Yes. So sometimes you find older women survive better in leadership because they've gone through the ranks. A newly married woman, there are more demands from her. People are demanding for the baby, then if you're having a baby, your work hours. So I think we need to make provisions in our gender policies depending on a woman's biological cycle and things like that. So if I am in the reproductive, and unfortunately that's when we have just started working. That's when we are most vibrant, when most of us get married and start having children, and then maybe we come back later when the children have grown up. But that affects us in a way that your male colleagues stayed on job and they got a lot of capacity building opportunities, and for you, you're starting right where you left. So sometimes you find very experienced or very long-serving older women still at low ranks because they kept cutting off time during their productive years. So when we are lobbying for these, we need to prepare these women. Okay, if we fast track them to leadership, how do we prepare them for leadership? What must you know? How many of us know the policy making process as a leader? So like a board member, for instance, my role is policy making. They'll give you financial statements to read, they'll give you policies to read, they'll give you strategies to analyze and give feedback. Are you able to do that? Because I can tell you, as someone who started as a foot soldier, that journalist who runs to the field, the content you engage with is very different from the content and context of someone in leadership. Now you're a manager, you're managing people, you have to make certain kinds of decisions, who to recruit, who to punish, who to fire, who to warn. But you must also understand why they've behaved the way they are. Then when you go to a board, it's a different ball game. So we must be prepared for that. I know there are several, maybe not so many, but there are people out there who offer these trainings. Do we have resources? Are we willing to invest in ourselves? Yes, because also this profession is about self-investment. I was a bit lucky that after graduation I worked a bit and my father could pay for me to go do a master's, and later I was lucky to get a scholarship to do a PhD. But those short courses, even to date, I will invest in a short course on something I need to know. A quick example is the digital world. I'm not very analog, but I am there in the middle. But some of the things I know, I had to reach out to a very young person. I don't know if it's fortunate or not. Many times they are male who are tech savvy, and they say, I want to learn that. And they teach me how to do that. Sometimes I pay them, sometimes they do it for free. But most of them are men who I've had to learn this from. You find women are missing in those spaces. So again, I got to another young man. But the beauty about this relationship with the young men, that if I'm free with you, we shall share these thoughts. I will try to influence you to think differently about women. You might buy in, you might not, but it makes a difference when you also network with men in this journey of women's empowerment and gender equity.